Welcome, everyone, to VPOD.AI. I'm Mike.
And I'm Susan. It's great to be here.
Before we really get into today's deep dive, just a quick word from our sponsor.
Of course.
This deep dive is sponsored by Stonefly. They're a trusted solution provider and advisor in all things enterprise storage.
That's right. We're talking backup disaster recovery, hyper-converged infrastructure for VMware, Hyper-V, and Proxmox, even AI servers.
And SA365, which is a turnkey security appliance, plus public and private cloud solutions. You can check it all out at stonefly.com for more info.
Definitely worth a look.
So today's topic, if you've been to a grocery store lately, anytime since 2020, you know the feeling.
Oh, yeah. The sticker shock is, it's very real.
Everything is, on average, about 30% more expensive than it was just a few years back.
And we hear all the usual reasons: inflation, supply chains, tariffs, you name it.
But today we're digging into something a bit darker, a possibility that this is all being engineered.
That there's an intentional system built by grocery stores and the tech companies behind them that's pushing prices higher.
Exactly. Beyond just the normal economic stuff.
And the investigation we're looking at today, it really started from this dream that businesses have had for like a century. The holy grail, so to speak.
Which is?
Perfect price discrimination. The idea is, what if you could charge every single person the absolute maximum amount they are willing or able to pay for something?
That sounds a little dystopian. And historically impossible, right?
It was. But with modern data, it's not so impossible anymore. Which brings us to the core question that kicked this whole thing off.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Could you and I open the same grocery app for the same store at the exact same moment and be charged two different prices for a carton of eggs?
Say $2 for you and $2.40 for me.
Precisely. And if that's happening, is that system the real reason our grocery bills just keep going up and up?
And this whole line of questioning, it didn't even start with customers, did it? It started with the workers.
Right. That's the fascinating part. Researchers were looking at Instacart's workforce in D.C., and they noticed something odd.
What was that?
The platform was paying different shoppers different wages for doing almost identical work.
So the company was already using some kind of algorithm
Yeah.
to optimize what it pays out.
Exactly. So the logical next question was, well, if they do this to their workers, what about their customers?
Are they optimizing what they charge them too?
That was the theory. But proving it is tricky, right? Because prices always fluctuate for legitimate reasons. Sales, inventory, things like that.
So they needed a really controlled experiment.
Airtight. They designed a simple test. They got a bunch of people together in one place.
Yeah.
Everyone opens the Instacart app at the same time, selects the same store, and adds the same 20 items to their cart.
Now the key part.
They all chose pickup. This was crucial. It eliminated all the variables like delivery fees or different addresses. They just wanted to compare the raw cost of the items.
And what happened?
Immediately, even in that tiny first test, the results were, well, they were unbelievable.
People in the same room had different totals.
Different basket totals, yes. But more importantly, when they looked closer, the items themselves had different prices.
So it wasn't a fee, it was the price of the food.
Right. Take a carton of eggs. For one person, it was $4.59. For another, sitting right next to them, it was $4.28.
That's a 31-cent difference on a basic staple. That's huge.
It is, and it proved that the price wasn't fixed. It was being personalized based on who was looking at it.
So that's powerful. But it's a small test. You could argue it's a fluke.
Which is why they scaled up. They partnered with Consumer Reports and community organizers and got over 400 volunteers involved.
All following the same exact protocol.
The exact same. Same store, same items, same time, all verified with screenshots.
And with that larger sample size.
The data got even weirder. The basket totals for the same 20 items varied by about $10.
$10. So one person pays $114 and another pays $124 for the exact same stuff.
That's what they found. And it wasn't just one or two items. Nearly 3/4 of the products had different prices. They found 5 different prices for eggs, 4 for wheat thins.
But the really damning part wasn't just the variation, it was the pattern you mentioned.
Exactly. It wasn't random chaos. The system was sorting people into these very specific price groups.
Good evening.
If you were in, say, Group A, every single one of your 20 items was priced at the higher end. If you're in Group B, every item was cheaper. It was a package deal.
So it's deliberate segmentation. In one test, they found 4 of these groups, and in another, 7 different price tiers.
All operating at the exact same moment.
Okay, so when Instacart was presented with this pretty undeniable data, what did they say?
They gave the standard industry answer. They deflected. They said, We don't set prices, the retailers do.
Passing the buck.
Completely. But the researchers didn't stop there. They went to the retailers, specifically to Target.
And Target's response must have been interesting.
Oh, it was. Target pushed back hard. They said, I'm paraphrasing, "We absolutely do not work with Instacart on pricing."
Wow.
And they added a little reminder that Target owns Shipt, which is Instacart's biggest competitor.
So that creates a massive contradiction.
Yeah.
Instacart says the retailer sets the price. The retailer says, no, we don't.
Right. And when the researchers went back to Instacart with Target's denial, the story suddenly changed.
They caved.
They admitted it. They said, okay, yes, we do manage Target's prices on our marketplace. And what's more, they admitted they were running experiments to see how much they could charge on top of Target's regular prices.
That is the smoking gun. It reframes their entire business. They aren't just a delivery service.
Not at all. They're a technology company. They sell tools to retailers to maximize profit.
And to really supercharge that, in 2022, they bought a company called Eversight.
Yes. And Eversight's whole purpose is to optimize prices by running these constant, invisible experiments on users.
Invisible experiments. What does that mean?
It means you could be looking at a jar of mayonnaise priced at $4.99 while another user sees it for $5.15.
And the system is just tracking who buys what.
It's tracking which price point brings in the most profit, learning how much you'll tolerate before you just give up on buying it. They call it AI for everyday price performance.
And they promise retailers, what, a 2% to 5% profit increase? That's how they find that hidden cash.
It is. And this led to another discovery from experiments at Costco, where they were seeing price gaps as high as 15% on like a big bag of chips.
How is the mechanism there?
An internal Instacart email got accidentally forwarded by a Costco VP, and it described a program called Smart Rounding.
Smart rounding. That sounds harmless.
It sounds friendly, doesn't it? But in a letter to shareholders, Instacart defined it as a machine learning-driven tool to help retailers improve price perception.
Okay, let's stop on price perception. That doesn't sound like making things cheaper.
It's not. It's about psychology. The algorithm knows that $4.99 feels much better to a customer than $5.01, so it might round down to secure a sale.
But it can go the other way.
Of course. If it knows you buy the same brand of olive oil every single week, no matter what, it might nudge the price from $11.99 to $12.25.
A tiny change you might not notice.
But a change that generates millions of dollars in extra profit when you apply it across the entire system. This is a deliberate, sophisticated strategy.
And it might not even be limited to the app anymore. I mean, the researchers found one store where there was no online price variation at all.
Right, at a grocer called Schnucks. And at first, that seems like good news, but the theory was that maybe the testing had just moved into the physical stores.
Using those digital price tags you see now, the electronic shelf labels, or ESLs.
Exactly. They allow prices to be changed instantly. And the fear isn't just, surge pricing during a hurricane.
Where they charge $10 for water.
Right. The real threat is more subtle. It's a slow, permanent creep, adding 10 cents here, 20 cents there, every single day.
And there's evidence for this in patents, right?
Yeah. Yes. Patents were found describing an infrastructure to do exactly that. You cluster your stores, test different prices in different clusters, find the most profitable price, and then you roll it out everywhere.
So the technology and the intent are there.
They are. Instacart even removed some information about ESL price optimization from their website after they were asked about it.
So let's go back to the online groups. How is the system deciding who pays more? The patents kept using one word, right?
Segmentation. That's the key. And it's not based on illegal things like demographics. It's based on your behavioral characteristics.
Which is legal.
Perfectly legal and very effective. They track your purchase history, how often you shop, if you use coupons, if you're in a loyalty program.
They're building a profile of your willingness to spend money.
And it's all to calculate what the patents call your shopper and product headroom.
Headroom, what does that mean?
It's your personal price ceiling. The algorithm calculates how much more money you personally could spend on groceries overall. That's shopper headroom. And then it calculates how much more you'd pay for that specific brand of peanut butter before you walk away. That's your product headroom.
So they're literally using AI to find your financial pain threshold for every item you buy.
Yes. And because it's too much work to set a unique price for every person, they do what the patent says. They group you with similar consumers, which is exactly why the researchers found those 4 or 7 distinct price groups.
This sounds familiar. We've seen this kind of algorithmic pricing before.
We have with Uber. When they rolled out a similar system, the average price per mile for riders went up, 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 for 3 years straight.
It turned a money-losing company into a cash machine.
And now that giants like Amazon and Walmart are doing this, every other grocer feels like they have to adopt these tools just to keep up.
It's a defensive move that ends up raising prices for everyone.
And there are no guardrails. It's the Wild West, which is why regulators are starting to pay attention. The former FTC chair, Lena Khan, called this a potential form of massive wealth transfer.
From ordinary people to huge corporations.
Because the company knows so much more about your spending habits than you do, she also raised the issue of collusion.
How so?
If one company, like Instacart, is facilitating the pricing for a bunch of competing grocery stores, it starts to look a lot like price fixing. They could be setting a price floor for the whole market.
So what's the solution?
She said states need to step in. They're already starting to ban algorithmic price fixing in housing and rent, and state attorneys general have subpoena power. They can actually look under the hood and see how these algorithms are really working.
So to sum this all up, if you've been wondering why your groceries cost so much, it's not just inflation.
No, it's far more systematic. There's a sophisticated machine that is constantly watching you, learning your habits, and working 1 penny at a time to find the absolute maximum it can charge you.
And we are training these systems every time we shop.
We are, in an incalculable way. They're learning what you specifically are willing to tolerate.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to take away from all this.
Yeah, something to chew on. If the goal of these companies is to charge you based on your calculated headroom, your personal price ceiling,
what habit do you have right now that might be signaling to that algorithm that you can afford to pay more?
Is it your loyalty to a certain brand? The fact that you never use coupons? That behavior is now quite literally being monetized against you.
Yes. Something to think about next time you're scrolling through that digital aisle.
For sure.
And before we officially wrap up, we want to mention Stonefly one more time. Right now, they have a fantastic offer for businesses that need ultra-secure storage.
That's right. You can get 100 terabyte immutable and air-gapped SSO NAS for just $8,995.
You can find out more at Stonefly.com. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.